It's actually good that you're here now.
Yeah.
Look at that. Then welcome back to episode 16 of the Panther Soccer Podcast, the Serie A episode. I think she wore 16. Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah. But anyways, this is Caitlin Richards, our starting goalkeeper for the UNI women's soccer team. Do you have anything to say about Serie A before we get started?
I miss her. She was my captain buddy last year, and I miss her dearly, but she's doing better things now with her new team, and she's loving it. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, that's fair. She was a good player, and I don't know, she was always just so energetic and just so positive towards everyone, no matter the situation, and I don't know, she was just an enjoyable player to, I don't know, keep an eye on, I guess you could say. But anyways, how are you doing today, Caitlin?
Pretty good. It's Labor day off.
That
Right
is-
before conference almost. We have a week until conference, so it's exciting.
Yep, when this episode is released, it'll be 6 days before the Drake game. Big rivalry game.
Oh yeah.
Anything you want to say about that game, or?
I like playing Drake. I mean, I think they're one of the better teams in our conference. I feel like they're always underrated. But every year I've been here, it's always been like one of the best games we've ever played. So I enjoy playing Drake the most probably because it's always a good game.
That's fair. Big rivalry. Plus, it's at Des Moines this year. We're taking a bus, and
I
guess
know. I saw that. It
Yeah.
should be fun.
Yeah, we'll get into that later on in the podcast. First off, so Caitlin, as we all know, you are the starting goalkeeper for the UNI women's soccer team. You have been for the past 3 years now. It feels like, and like, I've always been curious. Like, what made you decide growing up that you wanted to play goalkeeper?
So growing up in the club, I actually didn't play goalkeeper. I got thrown in as a little kid, and I just made a good catch one day. And my coach was like, "Okay, we're gonna make you a goalkeeper." And then once I hit high school, I decided to be a goalkeeper because I hated running. So there was one game I remember specifically. I just hated running, so I was like, "Okay, I'm done with this." But so yeah, and I was just really good at it, and I have a weirdly long wingspan, so yeah. That's how I like to say I became a goalkeeper.
Like, growing up, did your parents like try and force you to like switch positions at all, or like stick with midfielder or forward? Because like, I feel like parents have a way of like trying to convince their kid to be the star of the team, not, to score the goals rather than defend the goals. And did your parents like pursue that or anything, or?
So my dad is actually a coach. So he co-owns a soccer club in Chicago. And all
What
that.
soccer club?
Chicago Edge.
Okay.
So him and his friend Murray run it, or they're co-directors basically. And basically how we were raised, he did AYSO with me, which is rec.
Yep.
And then I went to a different club, and his goal was just for me to have fun. Because how he played, he was the wing back, because he's from England, so they call it different positions. So he did a lot of running, and I was just not the runner of the family. My brother was, and my sister, but I was never a runner. So they were just happy if I was happy, basically.
That's fair. Nah, playing an outfield position kind of sucks because, especially midfielder. Midfielder, you're just running the entire game, and I don't know, get tired way too easily. I feel like, and I don't know, as a goalkeeper, you're in the game the whole 90 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, you have more control, and yeah. But so, growing up in Chicago area, like you said, like, was there a lot of pressure or like? Because there's a lot of competition within the soccer community in Chicago. There's a lot of high-end D1 recruits. I feel like most of the UNI women's soccer team is from Chicago. Like, what did the competition look like,
So for me, at one point at my club, we had 7 goalkeepers in my group. So we had an ECNL team, and then we had an MRI team when it used to be. No, what is it called? It was something MRL. That's what it was. MRL, and then regular. And then also, I had a really good goalie coach growing up who is now in California and doing a bunch of stuff. So basically, it was just based on if you had a good goalie coach or not. And that kind of directed if you made it big or not. So I grew up with, I actually trained with Brian Schwakey, Roman Solitano, all of them. They were played at the same club as me and everything. I didn't get to train with them as much because we always split off into girls and guys because their group was just good and they had a certain standard that they wanted, which is fair play. Look at them now. But like my group is like one of my best friends plays for St. Catharines in Minnesota. Has been to the NCAA tournament like every single year. As a D3 school. I have a friend that plays at Western Michigan, and then all of that. So basically, the competition is like really good, but it's like for a good reason because like the standard up there is so good because of all the goalie coaches.
That's fair. I feel like Chicago is just overlooked with the amount of high end players they get because like everyone looks at I feel like outside of the Midwest, people look at Chicago and it's like, oh yeah, the Chicago Fires suck, they're a joke. Their academies must suck and all that, but like you look at the lower levels and just the amount of competition and just look at all the rosters in the Missouri Valley. I don't know, there's just a lot of high end Chicago players coming through and I don't know. I feel like that can be very stressful and just very almost like demeaning at some point, being like, "Oh yeah, I have to compare myself to this player because this player is playing at like UCLA or something." But yeah.
Yeah, basically it sucks because like as I've been through college and everything, I realized that it's surprising how many of the Illinois schools don't recruit out of Chicago. So like Megan Nemec, who grew up in like the Chicagoland area, like close, went to Loyola, and I think it was Barry at the time did a phenomenal job of always recruiting in Chicagoland because there's so much little talent in there that people don't grab because they don't go to a big name club or they don't make national team roster right away. That people are like, oh, they're not good enough. That's why Loyola was so good for years because he literally recruited through the little like clubs and grabbed all the best players that people weren't noticing right away. And that's how he won and like made it to the tournament so many times because he did the little thing. So I'm just like Illinois State's new head coach is starting to do that, which is like good for her. Valpo started to do that, which like good for him. Like they're finally starting to realize that the little talent in Chicagoland area just because they don't go to like what we call them like MLS next clubs and like GA clubs, like it literally can be changed if you just go for like the little teams that like have like really good players like Team Chicago and all of them.
That's really well said. I like that. Transitioning into like your time in college or before like stepping into college. So like what did your recruiting process look like? Like was there other schools interested or like how did you like get in contact with Bruce or I think Bruce was still coaching at the time. Yeah, I guess.
So basically I was one of the most laziest people with my recruitment process. I had the mindset of I always want to have fun with my sport. I guess it's my job. Yes, I want to go play professional outside of this, but it was more of I just want to have fun. I want someone that wants me, not the other way around that, oh, they just get to have me because I'm doing all the work for them. So I had a couple other schools interested, but I also didn't do a lot of work for me to like send out emails as much as I should have. And I also always struggled to get tape because the team I was on I did make saves, but it wasn't like amazing because I had such a great defense in front of me. Because I think I had we had a center back that goes to Illinois. Megan Bennington played with me all those years, and then we have an outside back that goes to Tennessee now. The other one goes to I think Drury. And so I had a solid back line. I had two girls that went to Kentucky on that team. My team was stacked. We had a girl that goes to Michigan State now, went to Baylor. We had a Duke girl on that team. I just didn't get as much action as other goalkeepers would. So I didn't have a lot of film I could have used. So Bruce came to me, saw me play in Minnesota, I think, and he was just I like how you can command. I like how you constantly talk. I think I had one save against that team. It was St. Mary's, I think, when they used to play against us. And he was just you can tell that you know what you're doing back there. So to me, that's what grabbed me, was that I wanted a coach that wanted my talent and wanted me, and he wasn't going to take me for granted.
Okay, so going into freshman year, you had two goalkeepers older than you, had some more college experience. Did you look up to them going to freshman year, or were you just immediately nope, I know what I'm here for, I'm just an individual, I don't know, how did you approach that going into your freshman year?
So my freshman year was hard because we had COVID, So that fall we just had practices, and Chloe and Brittany carried injuries. So funny enough, like Jamie and I still laugh too about this to this day. Chloe had an like an arm injury, while Brittany had a leg injury. So literally when we would scrimmage 11v11, Chloe would do the goal kicks and all that, while Brittany would actually dive. Because like we didn't have the goalkeepers to like scrimmage. So that's what ended up happening my freshman year. So I was the only one that stayed healthy. So that kind of gave me my like chance. Because once we started in the spring, I believe Chloe was still fighting her arm injury at that point. Because like she had a weird arm injury and we were trying to figure it out. And so basically, just because I was the one that stayed healthy, it just gave me an edge. And we only played 11 games. I think it was that in my freshman year. So it was just like, basically, like we had to make quick decisions, and I was the one that just stayed consistent. And it was probably like one of my better seasons, but also we didn't play a true season. So I stayed healthy. It gave me the edge, and then going into my sophomore year, that when it became a real big competition. I struggled my sophomore year with like mental health reasons of like trying to find my path, trying to keep my confidence up and all of that, and I feel like everyone goes through that their sophomore year. I feel like it's a big thing that a lot of people try to hide, but it shouldn't be. Like your sophomore year is your hardest year, and that's even like what my best friend like Johnny Hill told me, like who played on the team. Like it's just that year of like your coach knows what you can do because you played freshman year. So your sophomore year comes and he goes, look, I need to see what the other freshmen can do, so don't get discouraged if you don't start right away and all that kind of thing. But my sophomore year, it was like Chloe, Brittany, me, and then KB. So that right away was hard enough. KB came on like on fire, but you know, we had like Chloe and Brittany still. So props to KB for never giving up and always challenging like all of us. Like she really raised the bar, which was needed. And then Chloe was healthy, so Chloe played phenomenal, and same with Brittany. So like that preseason was intense, and it was like a good group, and like I wanted out in the beginning, and then it just like some things happened, and like it kind of messed with my mental health, and messed with like how I was playing. So Chloe got her opportunity, and Chloe killed it, as she should. And I think that's why it's important that like when that happened for me, it wasn't like I was upset. It was more of like, this is what's best for the team. And like Bruce and I had that talk one day, and I was like, no, like I would never ever get upset with you for playing someone if it's better for the team's outcome in that point. Because like if I'm not performing and I'm not doing what I need to do for the team, it's best for her to play, and like we can work through that later. And him and I can have a talk about that later, because I remember that meeting we had, and I told him, I'm like, of course I'm not happy with your decision, but I will always understand your decision. And I always respect your decision, because, like, there's a reason why he's a head coach. He's been coaching for over 30 years. Like, he's seen it all. He's done it all. Like, I trust him and his, like, decisions at the end of the day. Am I going to be happy with them? No, but I have to realize that, like, the game is bigger than just one person.
Well, so now it's your senior year, so like, well, I guess if you're gonna take a fifth year, I guess it's not really your senior year, but like, what's the expectation for this coming season? Like, what do you guys, like, at the end of the season, where do you realistically think UNI soccer is gonna finish?
It's a hard one, because like I think for me, being like how like what we've been through the past couple years, it's like my expectation's always to just like win it. But what I realized with our team is that when we do so like far in advance goals, like it freaks us out almost. And like I don't know if that's the right word to use, but like we do so much better if we just focus on game to game. Like we go, okay, let's win the next game. Let's win the next game. Let's get a shutout. Like I think everyone's goal is to make it to the NCAA tournament. And we had like a meeting before everything, and I think like I'm gonna give credit to Lauren Heinz here, because like this is what she said, and like this is basically like what I've been living by, is like, let's beat all the teams that beat us last year. So like to me, because that's like an obtainable goal, it's not too big. Like some people do great with those big goals of like, let's win the NCAAs. Okay, like calm down there, but
not all of us are UCLA.
But like it's like those things of like I like the small goals of like let's win the next game. Like I think that's one big thing. Like even my parents will be like, "Oh, are you excited for like Missouri State?" I'm like, that is like 3 weeks away. Like I'm more focused on South Dakota. I'm more focused on like UT Martin and like not. I haven't even started focusing on Drake yet because like that is still like 2 games away for me. Like I don't want to jump too forward because as a goalkeeper, especially if you jump so far forward, that's how you let in like the stupid little goals because you're just not focused in the moment. So I think our team does way better when we focus in the moment and we let that go because everything will come together at the end if we focus in the moment.
Now I'm just curious, like, how does it feel knowing that you're one of the best goalkeepers in the conference?
I mean,
At least top 2.
my grade is phenomenal. Like you have Nikki, who give her credit because like she's phenomenal. Like makes great saves. So
What school?
Valpo.
Oh, that's
So
right.
Valpo's goalie Nikki's my grade. Phenomenal. Always give her credit to what she does. Because she is like someone that takes care of business, does what she can for her team. Because she's like with Valpo, like I feel like they've always struggled to have like a solid defense. They always have 1 or 2 good defenders, but that's why she's always been so phenomenal. Because she's been a solid rock back there. Same thing with like Maddie Alexander in Indiana State.
Yep.
I feel very sorry for her that she didn't play last season because she should have because she's phenomenal. And she's still phenomenal to this day. Like, she's in my class. And then, who else is in my class?
Camille Day.
Yeah.
Missouri State.
Which is a touchy subject because in the tournament last year, I feel bad that, like, the goal she gave up was just unfortunate as every goalkeeper. Like,
wait, against us or?
Yeah, like when we almost came back and like tied it.
You shouldn't feel bad for us scoring.
Well, no, it's a goalkeeping thing of like her
gotcha.
mistake. Of course, I'm happy we scored, but like that's the thing of a goalkeeping community is that like if you always look out for each other because we are the outliers.
Yeah.
We are the outliers of like. I have my own training sessions. I don't really train with the rest of them. Like, I'm not always a part of everything because of, like, I have to go do my own, like, film training, all of that stuff. Like, doesn't mean I'm not close with everyone, but, like, people have to realize that goalkeepers, like, in my opinion, I always stick with my goalkeeping community. Like, you can hear me back there all the time when a goalkeeper makes a great save. I'm like, that's a phenomenal save. Like, give them credit for, like, what they're doing well for because, like, there's no point of being haters. Like, we're all doing the same job and we're doing all the sport that we love. Like, don't need to hate on each other for it. That's only for goalkeepers, though. Anything else. But I'm also known as one of the nicest people in the MVC because on quarters I'm always chatting people up. Like yesterday, I was having a great talk with one of the Omaha girls.
Were you actually?
Yeah, like she actually stepped on my foot and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "No, you're all good. I think I actually stepped on you too, but like we're all good." Like it's just. Like, and Evansville's, like, one of the biggest ones. Like, a lot of people on our team, like, have beef with them. But, like, honestly, like, I think many of the forwards and I have, like, always talked on corners. And, like, they've always been so nice to me. Like, there was the game last year we played them. One of the girls, like, took me out. And the ref said that was your own player. And the girl goes, "No, I literally bulldozed her." Like, you know, it's, like, one of those, it's, like, I think people have to realize that there's people that respect the game and like that's how we do it. Like I respect the game, I respect the people I play. Like you're here for a reason, especially at the D1 level. And like you're playing the game you love that you've grown up with. So like I respect that. Now once you start going off calling people names for no like apparent reason, that's when I lose your respect. Like but like you're allowed to be passionate about the game and get angry, but don't get angry like by calling people names. Like it's not the end of the world kind of thing.
It is, in theory, just a game. I mean, it's more than that, but, like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's soccer.
There's, like, a thin line between, like, passion and being, like, way too much with it. Like, I love the passionate ones, but you gotta realize that, like, your emotions control everything. So, that's why I'm, like, I love the passionate ones, but don't make it ruin, like, we have a saying on our team is, like, soccer stays within soccer. Once you step in a weight room or the practice field or the dome or anything like that, like, nothing should be talked about outside of soccer. Like, it's just that soccer's that moment, and then once you leave, yeah, then I can go do schoolwork. Then I can go focus on my school stuff. But, like, that's the biggest thing, is that soccer is soccer. If I make a tackle in soccer, I take someone out in soccer, that shouldn't, that shouldn't, ruin my friendship with them outside of it. Just because, like, that's the game. Keep it in the game. Like, that's our biggest thing on this team, is, like, what's in the game stays in the game. Everything else should not be it shouldn't, affect our friendship.
No, it's funny you say that, like, what stays in soccer, because I feel like people outside of the soccer community don't even realize that, because I was talking to, what's her name? Sophia Whitelaw the other day, and, like, in one of her classes, like, because she had to skip class for, a Thursday game, and her professor's like, do you really need to warm up? Like, I really don't think you should be leaving class at, 2 o'clock today for your 4 o'clock game. Do you really need to go warm up? Like, I think you can leave here at 3:30 for your 4 o'clock game. You don't need to warm up. Like,
it's so hard with some professors because, like, I'm in the major that they all understand. I'm a kinesiology major. I'm a coaching minor, like, strength and conditioning minor. Like, they all understand.
Oh, so you've had, like, Dr. T.
Yeah,
and,
so, like,
gotcha.
they all get it, like, it's not always our choice to skip.
Right.
But some of the other professors just don't get it because it's, like, to them, it's not their love.
Right.
Like, their love is, of course, what they're, like, teaching. Like, which could be, like, biology, like,
crap.
the history and all of that. Like, that's why it's, like, hard because, like, I understand where some teachers come from because, like, to them, that's, like, disrespecting their love.
Right.
Like, but at the same time, like, they take it out on the players thinking, like, we have the choice. When in reality, it's, like, for Sophia, it's, like, she has to be ready to go by, like, 3 when our meeting starts.
Right.
So, yeah, she can stay till, like, 2:45, but then she's got to book it. So, yeah. Some teachers are really nice about it, but also this year has been crazy because we've never skipped that many classes before in the beginning of the year. So, I feel for those teachers, but sometimes, just like any other human, sometimes they're not as open. Just like some players are not as open to change, so.
Right, that's fair. So, looking back at your season last year, specifically in the Illinois State game, I guess you didn't play Southern Illinois, and the UIC playoff game, like, there's, like, a student section back there. Like, do you just enjoy, like, having a student section behind you, like, trying to harass you, get in your head, or, like...
You mean my fan club?
Your fan club, the
That's
UIC?
That's what we call UIC men's team. So, funny enough, I know a couple of guys that play on it. Chicagoland area, we all know each other.
Yep.
So, my thing as a goalkeeper is that as a young age, I always thought, like, doesn't matter what people are saying. Like, you should be able to tune it out. Same thing, I think there was an incident last year with, like, the Missouri State goalkeeper. Like, her mom tried coming over to my side because you guys were doing something. And...
Whoops.
Basically, but the daughter that was playing, I think it was Camille.
It was Camille Day, yeah.
Yeah, like, basically, she was upset with her mom being like, who cares? Like, This is part of the job description of, like, what I have to do. I have to learn how to tune people out. It shouldn't bother me. Like, all of this, all of that. Like, and in that moment, major respect for her because, like, that is our job. Like, you have to realize that, like, people are going to say stuff to you and, like, it shouldn't matter. Like, I don't know how, like, men's basketball does it with, like, 50,000 people doing it, but, like, that's life. Like, you gotta get over it. Like, I personally find it hilarious when people try to talk to me and, like, joke with me, like, and, like, as long as they don't bring anything, like, and probably people will, but, like, bring anything, like, personal, like, in my personal life into it, like, meaning, like, they know me personally and they start to say stuff, like, that was why I respected UIC men's team because, like, 2 of them, especially, like, one of the goalkeepers I used to train with, like, and everything, like, they didn't bring anything personal into it. They looked up my bio, of course, which is like, oh, it's my bio, who cares?
Like on the team website? Or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, which is fine, but, like, as long as they're not going, like, in depth about my life, because, like, why do we need to? But, like, I enjoy it. Like, I think it's amazing, like, but I also am a huge soccer fan, like, I watch Premier League every weekend. I like watching random games on, like, ESPN Plus. So, like, to me, like, that's the game. That is, like, why we play the game. Like, You want passionate fans. You want people there. We want people like doing stuff. But like, if a goalkeeper can't deal with it, then like,
leave.
Then like it's one of those. It's like you got to like this is your job. Like, as much as it sucks, like if you think it's bad now, and those that are trying to inspire to go pro, like, I know I actually have one of my sister's teammates plays at Bama now, and all of that. Like, if you see their like stands, they're packed.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I just know because they have like a bunch of like frats and all of them down there. Like, I know what those guys are saying are 20 times worse than what is said in like MVC conference and all that. Cause like with the SIU, like with theirs, like whatever, like I thought they were funny. Like I wasn't in, but I thought they were like funny. Like they were chill. Like I think Brittany said they brought up my boyfriend, and I'm like, well, your boyfriend's also like on a public Instagram. Like it's one of those. It's like if you don't like, for certain people, you have to have public Instagram because of like NIL deals and all that. But like, truly, if you don't want people knowing your personal life, don't make it public. Like that's why a bunch of like professional athletes don't like to post their relationships because like they want to keep that personal sometimes. Not everyone, but it's one of those. It's like if you don't want it public, like you're in that type of like line of work that you have to make a decision. Like if you want to play professionally and you want to pursue that life, be ready for people to be in your business. That comes with the job description, sadly.
That's fair. What's student section like is the most toxic though in the conference, you would say?
I don't even know. Who has student sections? Us, SIU.
UIC technically.
UIC kind of. It's just like the men's program and women's program.
Like cheer on each other, which is fine. Yeah. Illinois
honestly,
State technically.
None of them were. Oh, I didn't even know Illinois State had one, because like they don't do like not in a bad way. They don't like really say anything.
They're just
honestly,
there and hitting on the players,
yeah,
making posters and.
Yeah. I remember that.
Sliding into the players' DMs, being creepy. A little strange.
I totally forget about that stuff. I'm probably like, I think everyone's fine. Like, Illinois State's probably pushing it, but like, again, UIC, it's my fan club, that's what I call them. Because like, after the PKs, my parents are like, I'm surprised you didn't like go over to them and like say something. I'm like, why would I? Like, it's part of the game. They're being funny.
Anything else you want to add to the podcast? Any questions? Any concerns? Just anything you want to add? Anything to look forward to in the season?
I'm just here to have fun, to be honest. That's my goal in life. To have fun and make memories. That's my advice to everyone in every aspect of life. You only live once. Make some fun memories while doing it.
You know, that's a very good point. Does it bother you guys, or does it bother you whenever the Panther soccer crawlers are directly behind you then, or like, do you just wish you were on the other side?
It depends what day it is. It depends if I'm upset with people on the field that day or not. But not usually. I don't usually care. But I mean, I understand where the other goalies are coming from, but because it does get loud back there.
But old Maddie from Southern Illinois. That was so funny, like 2 years ago. Still a core memory for the student section.
What's the thing? Like once they give in, like once they like when a goalie starts talking back, like
it's just open season at that point.
Yeah, like why would you? Like with the UIC men's, it was funny because I remember this core memory. Like they would make fun of me. They like know I'm laughing because like it's what they're saying is funny.
Right.
But the goal that UIC scored, one of their girls just bulldozed me. Didn't even play ball. She just took me out. So but the ref didn't say anything. The whole men's team behind me barely cheers because they have a clear view of what just happened and they were like.
Yeah, it's not really a real goal at that point.
I mean, like, they celebrate because, like, why wouldn't you? But, like...
It's a goal, yeah.
So, but it's stuff like that. It's, like, as long as the fan sections are being fair and not, like, kind of, like, being... I don't, like, just, like, mentally degrading people and all that. Like, I'm cool with them. Like, your guys' chants are fun. Like, you guys don't, like... I feel like you guys don't, like, dig into them. You just try to annoy them.
Yes.
Which is like, which is fine with me, like, because like you just like doing cheers behind them or just like saying annoying things, like, I feel like you guys never go into their personal lives, which is kind of nice. You know their names.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, you know, that's public information, and they announce them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
That's like,
freaking
who cares?
Camille's mom. You will not talk to my daughter. All we said was hi. Like, what?
And that's why, like, the thing is, so it's
so
like,
funny.
Coming from, like, when she even said something, being like, Mom, just, like, leave it.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you know, like, she's like, this shouldn't, like, who cares?
Exactly.
Like, and, like, to be honest, like, at the end of the day, like, who doesn't love that kind of attention? You're basically feeding her ego.
That's a good point.
Damn.
My gosh, these cats are... On that note, do you want to call anyone out besides Morgan Barnett for a future episode of the podcast?
Who hasn't been on it yet?
Like over half the team.
Yeah.
If you call someone out, I'll just let you know if they've already been on.
Let's see. I gotta think. Let's do, is KB be on it?
Kennedy Buttonbach?
Yeah.
She has not been on it yet.
I'm calling out KB. KB, I want to see you on this podcast. Yep. There you go.
Kennedy, if you're watching this, we need you on the podcast. No pressure.
She's been called out.
It's not peer pressure. It's just your turn.
Exactly.
Exactly. One of Spencer O'Reilly's famous quotes. But thank you again for being on the podcast. This was a great episode. An episode I've been looking forward to because I've always just wanted to dive deep into the mind of a goalkeeper. So, yeah.
Yeah,
thank you for just a great episode of the podcast, and good luck in your game against Drake on Sunday, because this will be released the Monday before.
Perfect.
And if you're watching this and you're a UNI student, make sure to sign up for the bus trip, because, we're going to have a great and toxic time at Drake Stadium this coming Sunday. And for now, see you guys next time.
Bye.